So in this tutorial, we're going to learn how to use the length built-in function, or the len function. And what it does is it returns the number of characters or spaces also in a string. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. I'm going to create a string. I'm going to have a variable of a to represent this string. And we're going to say this is my string, and it is kind of long. All right. So now I got a string, and now I can check the length of it by just doing len parentheses a parentheses, and it gives me 38 characters. So this string has 38 index spaces, I guess you will, and we got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 space, and if you count all the way up, it'd be 38. So we got 38 characters. So let's look at another example. Since this is pretty simple, let's work with some programming. Go ahead and open up your text editor. I'm using Sublime Text. Command New to create a new file. Command S to save the file. And I'm going to save it as password.py. Password.py. .py. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to create a little program that checks if the user's password and username are long enough. You see this quite often with websites where it says, hey, you need a minimum number of characters to be for it to allow for the password. So we're going to create a variable, username. We're going to set that equal to, or assign that to represent input. And we haven't seen the input function yet, unless you're doing our other tutorial series, Learn Python by Example, where input will take a user's input and put it into a string. In this case, username would be representing that object, string object. So in here, for the username, we're going to say your username, minimum of 4 characters. Okay. And then down here, we're going to do password. We're going to do input again because we want to get the user's password. We'll say your password, minimum of 6 characters. Alright, and then down here we're going to use an if statement. Now, don't worry too much about what an if statement is, but basically what an if statement does is if it's true, it will do something. If it's false, it will do something else. So what we're going to do here is if len username name is greater than 4 and len password is greater than 6, or I should actually do this as greater than or equal to, alright, because we tell the user up here a minimum of 4 characters, so if I say greater than 4, they would actually have to put 5. In this case, we should do greater than equal to, so it can be 4. And then we put a colon here. This closes out our if statement up here. And then we're going to say if length is greater than or equal to 4 and password is greater than or equal to 6, then we'll accept the user's username and password. If not, we'll have to say we can't accept that or something like that. So we'll do a print statement here, and we'll say your username and password are long enough. Alright, and then down here we'll do it else. So if this isn't true, or if these both aren't true, then we got to return a message to the user saying, like an error message saying your username and password are not long enough. Alright, so we'll save that, cancel, and we'll go ahead and open it up. I hope I saved mine to my desktop. If not, go ahead and get out of your interpreter, and we'll do Python 3 password.py. Your username. So we'll create a username. I'll say Tommy. Alright, so it's long enough. And then password. I'll just create a password. I'll call it password. Alright. And it says your username and password are long enough. Pretty cool, right? So what it did was check to make sure it's long enough. Now if I run this program again and I use something that's not long enough, we'll do password again. We'll get the other message. Your username and password are not long enough. So that's one way to use length, the length built-in function in Python. So if you have any questions, leave a comment on our website at mastercode.online. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next tutorial.